It's great to see you.
It's gonna be great to make you submit on the tarmac.
I'm gonna make you realize your full potential and that the things you really love are your passion and you should pursue them.
You're gonna be in an armbar here soon, son.
You're gonna be in a big old warm hug because I love you so much. I'm gonna take you back and give you a big hug no matter what happens.
I'm gonna punch you in the face.
Okay.
Right in the face a couple of times.
Well, if you're hungry after the fight, I'm going to take fishes and loaves and split them up until your belly is so full and you feel so cozy you want to take a nice long nap and you couldn't eat another bite.
It's very nice of you.
Yeah, it is.
What are we doing?
We're doing a podcast.
Oh, okay.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Tim, say hi to the people.
I did. I smiled. Even looking like an idiot, I smiled.
Today's a very special day here on the Bible is Funny podcast. Not just because it's Christian movies are funny, which everybody loves. The people love. Mm-hmm. But because you, the people, kind of made this happen, in a sense, what we're about to do today. We were not aware. We're not aware of so many Christian movies. We were not aware of this Christian movie that you told us about while it was in theaters. Mm-hmm. It was in the movies, and Tim and I went and saw it in the theater.
We paid money. That's how committed we are.
We paid good money for this, for you, so that we could see the movie. We could consume it and we could discuss it here on the podcast. But we're not gonna. It's not just us today. Tim, it's not just me and you.
What?
We got a very special guest today.
I like that you're surprising me.
We have
a guest. That's the special part.
We have a guest with us today. His name is Jeff Dickamore. He played Jesus in this movie that we reviewed, The Carpenter. Yeshua.
That's his real name.
We asked him to come on the podcast, and he said,
Yes.
Sure. Jeff Dickamore on the podcast with us. Coolest guy.
He's just lovely.
The best.
He was really, really good.
I was grinning ear to ear. I'm grinning ear to ear now thinking about this conversation because it was really great.
I like Jeff. I would hang out with Jeff.
Jeff is awesome.
He's the Jesus I want around me.
Hey.
I know.
I'm literally right here.
And present company included.
This was so fun. We talked about the movie, we consumed and discussed, and we had great insights. We had great insights because Yeshua was with us.
Yeah.
Because we're two or more gathered. And then also because Jeff was there with. This was just a great conversation. I can't wait for you to see it.
You're going to love it.
Check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podcast, Jeff Dickamore.
Here we go.
Hi, Jeff.
He's here.
Thanks for having me.
Jeff, I am
oh my gosh,
starstruck right now.
I know we have a real start,
yeah.
and it's not only that, but it's Jesus himself.
Yeshua in this film. Jeff, we're talking about your film. We're talking about The Carpenter, and I'm just right from the jump. I'm always every time I see somebody play Jesus, I'm like, what do you do to prep? How do you walk around on set? Are you just constantly telling everyone I'm just a guy, you know? How does it when you're playing, how do you approach playing Jesus in a movie?
Oh gosh. So I mean, there's like the funny side of it. There's the like intense emotional mind game of it. There's the spiritual side of it. There's a lot of aspects of trying to play Jesus Christ, but like number one for me, like I couldn't, how do I talk about this? Like he's like the most iconic character person in history, right? Like you can't compete. And everyone who knows who Jesus Christ is, has a very like specific idea of who he was. Some of that's shaped by art, some of that's shaped by personal experience or like people's own relationship with Jesus Christ. But
Or like how white was the painting at your church that you went to of Jesus?
Blue eyes, red hair. Like
Very.
what? How Caucasian was Jesus? How you know how European Renaissance was Jesus? And so that's really tricky. I think like it's so overwhelming to think about trying to play Jesus Christ that in some ways I just had to like disassociate and be like, I'm just playing a carpenter who's in this scene, he's like the best kind of friend. In this scene, he is just listening and loving this person. He's reserving judgment. He's letting someone know it's going to be okay. Like I had to really break it down in that way. And then with all the respect in the world for Jesus, I could not walk around pretending to be this like someone I'm not. Like
Sure.
I have strong feelings about portrayals of religious characters, and when people make it about themselves, it like drives me crazy. And I know that like if anyone has a positive experience with the Carpenter, for example, like with a performance of mine that's like spiritual minded, religiously focused, like if they have any kind of a positive experience or a spiritual experience, it has nothing to do with me. It only has to do with their faith and their experience, what they're hoping to get out of something. And it's really just like my job is to not get in the way of that, if that makes sense. So.
Yeah. Well, I think I appreciate your answer there, and like sort of how I didn't want to get too into it because I wanted to talk about it like while we're discussing the movie itself. But I think that kind of thing really comes through. Like the Jesus you put out there is very likable, is very he's kind, he's friendly, he comes off as like he's got this little secret that he's not trying to be, you know, God. I know that sounds weird in all of this, but not to get too spiritual about it. But you definitely put that out there, and again, I wasn't going to say that till later, but since you brought that up, I think that comes through.
I was too excited. I can't do this and not be excited. And I understand it was such a thoughtful, great answer. I'm just wondering if at any point, like and you're not doing this for a show, you're not doing this for anybody, but you're on set and you're in costume and there's a glass of water and you're just like, do I try? Just will I know what if I never try? That's what I used to do when I was a kid with Spider-Man. I used to be like, I don't know. Do I try it?
If I do, maybe it's going to happen this time.
Maybe how will I know? Maybe I can do it and I don't try it.
Have you thought about the other list of actors that have been in your position in like portraying Jesus? Yeah. Like, did you watch any of those? Like, Jim Caviezel, do you like think about him? Will Ferrell even played Jesus for a minute.
Yeah, I know. I had seen all of these performances, but I couldn't like, how did this person did it? Like, for me as an actor, that just kills me. I hate to sound like that guy,
channel Will Ferrell as you came into set. And you're like, I'm going to watch his 1 minute in Superstar with Molly Shannon.
That might be the penultimate, not the penultimate, the ultimate portrayal of Jesus Christ. But like you can't like go through and compare and like try to figure out how other people did it. You just have to figure out yourself, I think.
Yeah.
I want to know if there's a convention, because I played Jesus for one of our videos once in the God and Terry video, Anthony. We'll put the link in the bio. That's just something podcasters say. I don't know how to do it, but I got to be Jesus that one time.
Yeah.
And I showed my oldest that video yesterday, and she laughed a lot. And so if there's a convention that if you get invited to, I would like to be in.
Like a Jesus convention where we all get together.
Yeah, like a Jesus portrayal. Like I played Jesus.
Like Santa
Here's all the struggles that I went through.
Jesus.
Right.
Like that.
I think it could be a thing. I think we could start something.
That's so funny.
I'm there. If it happens, I'm there.
Okay, I have another practical question. I know we need to get into what we normally do in the fans of the podcast.
Feel free to edit out as much of this as you want.
I'm editing nothing from this.
Oh, I haven't even started recording yet.
I'm curious. It seemed to me.
Sorry. I'm gonna die on camera. Here we go. Yeah, I'm here. I'm back.
It seemed to me like the guy that
Praise
played
Jesus.
Orin. Guy that played Orin was he was very big and strong.
Yeah. So Cam Krebs, he played, and his brother Colin, who plays Levi. They played.
Colin with a K, Cameron also with a K,
Yeah,
and Kenny also with a K.
I think
We're all
everyone's
involved with the
Krebs.
movie.
And their mom's name is Kathy.
Oh my gosh,
They're amazing. I love the Krebs. What was I saying? Oh, they played college football. Like they are legit big dudes. And then Cameron especially really focused on like getting into shape for the role, you know.
Mhm.
So
me
big
too.
guys.
The question I had was, if you're in there, and I'm thinking, just talking to you today, when we have a really, really good friend that's our buddy Aaron is much bigger and stronger than me. And I find myself every time I'm near him doing my best to sort of do what I can with what I've got. Was there any of that going on as you're walking through the town? Were you swelling up at all to try to
because you're saying that
down your part
Cameron
of the
is so
screen?
much bigger and stronger than me.
Was he?
I didn't say that.
Is that what you're saying?
It looked a
I would never
bit
say
that
that.
way.
I don't know. So I'm the youngest of four boys, and I'm the smallest of my family. I'm 6'2.5", and
Okay.
I have three older brothers that are all like bigger than me, taller. Well, one of them's slightly shorter, but they all outweigh me by like 30, 40 pounds. Like they're all big dudes, and so I've always been the runt. So I don't know. I don't really think about that. But at the same time, I'm slightly taller than Cameron, and so it wasn't like I wasn't like looking up at him, you know. Whereas the guy who plays Sherrar, Daz Crawford, he's like 6'5", I think.
Oh wow!
So I only like clock how big someone is when they're like,
like,
significantly taller than you.
Because it's a unique experience for me, I guess.
Right. No,
I like
me
that
too.
you can call yourself
notice.
the runt, the 6'2" runt,
6'2",
like dashing, chiseled. I can play Jesus on the run.
Runt. Totally. That's how I still think of myself. Like I don't think of myself as being a big guy because I'm like, I'm the small one.
I don't notice when people are bigger than me either. I don't know. I was.
You just wanted to point out that like on screen, Cameron looks so much buffer than I did. That's what
it was all a hypothetical.
That's the point.
The camera adds 10 muscles.
I think what happened was my mic was breaking up. I don't even remember that question happening. So,
and here he backtracks. He's just walking it back.
What we'll do now?
Walking it back.
What we'll do now, we're going to go through some of the movie. Now, this is a little different for the listeners. So typically what we do is like, we'll talk about a movie that's been out for a long time. We've done movies from the 70s when we cover Christian movies. And this was a different experience from the jump. Tim and I went and saw this in theaters. I was in a Jesus costume. I'll send you pictures. We can compare costuming and hair and stuff. We went live. It is still, as of this recording, available to watch in theaters close to us in Brandon.
At that theater, yeah.
And so we shared that, and so you can still go check it out if you want. But we're not. To me, I thought, well, we're not going to like unpack the whole thing for everyone because it's very legitimate. Maybe you haven't seen it yet, but we will talk about some of our favorite moments and that type of thing. Does that sound like a plan?
I want to spoil it. I'm okay with spoiling it.
It's
2023, right? I mean, it was released in 23.
Well, they did a very limited release in December of last year, but it premiered like November 1st.
November 1st.
Oh,
as of this recording, 7 days ago.
Okay, so I'm going to say, if you don't want to be spoiled, go see the movie now.
Yeah, go see the movie and come back. Exactly. Yeah.
You've been told what the movie is. Go see it.
Telling you my position. I'm not going to give away all of the beautiful secrets. We're just going to touch on some highlight points. That's all I'm saying.
Jesus dies at the end. Spoiler alert. Just kidding.
Is that the end, though?
Is it, though? Is it? Ooh.
Is it the end? Is that only the beginning?
Think about that, Tim. So, Tim,
let's pray.
Tim, is there anything? Obviously, we have we have our guest with us here today. I don't know what we can share about the movie that's at all interesting, but Tim, did you find anything you wanted to share?
Yeah, dug up some dirt on this Jeff guy. Okay, so we're talking about the 2023 movie The Carpenter, written and directed by Garrett Batty, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Also written by Cameron and Kenny Krebs, as we've mentioned. They are brothers, both featured, or Cameron is featured in the film. Kenny is a writer, just listed as a writer on IMDb. This film stars Cameron Krebs in his first feature as Oren. He's the main character. Always a good idea to cast yourself as the main character when you write a movie. Colin Krebs, his brother, is side Levi.
Character. What is the point?
I know. I cast myself as side characters all the time in my own life. Like we mentioned, we have Colin Cameron, both with a K, and then Kenny Krebs and Kathy Krebs. So we got a lot of K's going on in here.
Yeah.
And we did just talk about alliteration with names, with kids' names. This was a previous podcast, but man,
I heard that episode. That's the episode I listened to.
That's the one.
We're talking about twins.
And then of course we have the otherworldly performance of Jeff Dickamore as Yeshua, but I think we know his real name. It's Jesus. Aurora Florence, the lovely, as Mira. I believe you know her, Jeff. And then Daz Crawford as Sherrar, and Andre Jacobs as Amos. I do have that correct. Aurora is your wife. Is that right?
Spoiler alert. Yeah. That's you.
I wanted to. You don't find that out in the film.
Yeah, you don't find that out. So my wife, Aurora Florence, plays Mira, the love interest of the fighter, and I matchmake the fighter with Mira. But the secret backstory, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Aurora and I are married. We've been married for many years, and 13 years. And
nice.
Yeah. We have 3 kids together.
Nice. So you didn't meet on set, is what we're learning now.
No, we did actually. And then we found out we had
on that set, not on that set.
Crazy.
What?
What? Same.
Wait, what?
Wow. It's a miracle.
Crazy. It was.
That's funny.
We did meet acting, but not, years ago.
Not on that set. Got it.
Wait, I want to know though. What was the project you met acting on?
We were doing a play about the nativity, actually. I wasn't playing Jesus though.
Were you Joseph?
No, I was Gabriel and John. Ooh. Like it was a play about it's called Savior of the World. It's like the first half is the nativity story and the second half is the Easter story. So in the first act I was Gabriel, and the second act I was John. She was Mary's cousin and some other. I don't remember what she was in the second act.
That's a good thing about plays. You can be several parts at the same day.
Be whoever you want. Yeah.
Tim, do you have anything else fact-wise? I love that you're doing this in front of him, by the way, because usually we just spout off these facts and we hope we're kind of as close to right as possible. But right now,
nobody's fact-checking us.
You better get this right. Do you have anything else that we need to share with the people they need to know about the Carpenter?
No, I mean, I have the IMDb synopsis if we want to get there yet, or if we want to do our disclaimer first.
I mean, yeah, we'll do the disclaimer first. I think that's good. We'll do it in front of a guest. I just feel like I'm so formal right now, and I'm so nervous with having Jeff present. So
I'm listening to every word.
But he's got such soft, non-threatening eyes.
Okay. So this is what we do. This is Christian Movies Are Funny. What we like to say here is that we consume the movies, we discuss the movies with each other after we watch them. We do not like this as a practice. We do not set out to just tear people down, because people are out there making things. And when you make things, sometimes it turns out the way you wanted. Sometimes it turns out a little differently. So we like to put this little disclaimer into all of our episodes to say Tim and I have not yet made a feature film. Still hoping. But when we do, we're going to do our best, and it's going to turn out how it's going to turn out. So we want you to create things and make things, and we never want people talking about the things you make to slow you down from making things. So go out there and make and share and create, because you might find a spouse doing it. It's something I hear happens.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
Tim.
crazy. I have to say, with that disclaimer, like it's crazy how hard it is to make a feature film or even a short film. Like it's how hard it is to make a video. And
Right, because you've done a good amount of stuff. We want your perspective on this. I mean, we've done a
it's
bunch of
crazy.
stupid
And
comedy shorts, but like
well,
you've got actual important shorts out there.
I mean, we also did our first, Aurora and I also make our own stuff, and we did our first feature film this last summer. And
Is that the
like,
taxidermist?
no, that was a short that we're developing into a feature, but that one is
Oh, okay.
a bigger animal. So, taxidermy puppets, it's tricky. So
That one looks
we need a
really
bigger
fun.
budget for that. It's really fun.
I want to hear a lot more about that one, but we'll save that for later.
We'll come back on. It's not faith adjacent or faith based, but we'll come back on and talk about that one. But it's not.
I'm still in. Don't worry.
They're all God's creatures, so I feel like we can use that to bridge the gap.
Perfect.
I'm so glad to hear you say that though, because that's what we do always nod. We've done shorts. We got our buddy Rob that produces the podcast, and we make stuff with him. And it's you try to make a 3.5-minute video, and it is like so much planning. It's so much. So that's why we always kind of pause to say that like this is a Herculean effort that was made, and we just don't ever want to put ourselves in a position where somebody's out there working super hard, chasing after this thing, doing that thing, and then these two jokers that just sit around and watch movies, just kind of like pick it apart for no reason. So we always want to approach this with the perspective that this was a hard task that was set out. It was accomplished. It was fun. It was put out there for the world to consume. We consumed it. And now we're going to discuss it. So that's my disclaimer. Tim, give the people the little IMDb summary of The Carpenter.
IMDb synopsis says an adopted Viking orphan becomes a carpenter's apprentice to Jesus. The orphan, Warren, fights as a side hustle. His experience training as a carpenter with Jesus as his mentor changes his lifestyle. That's all I got.
Now, one thing on premise, I don't think typically if you are an apprentice, that like if apprentice is your main hustle, I think that you're not paying the rent typically. You know what I'm saying? I would have thought fighting was the main hustle. It would be my only note on the IMDb description. Other than that, it's
It was all he was doing at the time.
Yeah, so that's the thing is it's like fighting is his hustle, and then he gets like kind of roped into being an apprentice to become carpenter, and slowly it switches to where there's like a moment where he's balancing both, and then he becomes a carpenter, right?
Yes, by the end.
Also,
the fighting was his passion and his full-time job.
Yeah. And I would also add, like, nowhere in the script did it say Viking. Nowhere in the movie did we say Viking.
I was gonna ask about that.
But the description uses Viking, and Vikings weren't around yet. What? I don't understand. That's why I don't get it. So in the script, we refer to him as a Northman or a Norseman.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the idea, is that he's like, he came down from the slave trade thing, blah, blah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so when people have been like riffing on the idea that, these people are idiots, why would they put a Viking in the time of Jesus? I don't know why. I know someone involved in the movie wrote that. And I think they were just trying to shorthand things instead of saying like a man of North European origin, blah, blah, blah. But anyway.
I think just calling someone
it's like
Viking,
Wikipedia. You can just put whatever you want in the description.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Calling someone a Viking is just a nicer way than calling them a redhead, I think.
Yeah. A ginger. A fighting ginger comes to
we couldn't say it the way we wanted it. What if we just call him a Viking? And that just seems like kind of a nice way to spin it.
Yeah. There you go.
The first like 4 words of that though are heavy hitters. It's like an orphan,
adopted Viking orphan.
There you go. An adopted Viking orphan. It's like I'm pretty into the movie right from the start.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about we're going to talk about the movie. Tim and I, like I said, we went and saw this in theaters. We want to hear your insights, Jeff. Feel free to jump in. We're going to look to you to fill in some of the gaps here that we obviously don't know. But Tim, my first question that we always start with is there, you went into this movie expecting to see certain things. What was the most shocking thing to you, Tim, about this movie?
Most shocking for me in the film was when the dad or adopted dad, is up on the roof and he falls off. And he's like, dangling there comedically, like kicking after he kicks the ladder out from underneath himself. And then he falls like flat on his back. And you're like,
Right.
oh my gosh, that killed him. And they were like, no, that didn't kill him. Watch this. And then they sent this like railroad tie to fall on top of him, like vertically, which would essentially pierce his chest, but it just falls on him. And then there's this crunch sound.
The sound effect.
I think like it's so horrific. It was like a bag of potato chips was mixed with Play-Doh, and then and the Foley artist just probably had a great time with it, and just. And that was the sound of this railroad tie landing on his dad's chest, and then he still didn't die. He didn't die not right away.
But he held on to say goodbye.
But that was a shocking. Yeah, that was a very shocking instant.
We don't see where it hits him. Maybe it hit him in the leg. Maybe the crunch with his leg. I don't know.
Crunch like that.
It sounds off. It sounds like a rib cage.
That's why I heard organs getting crunched in there. That's what I thought.
And bones. Organs and bones.
I had that, Tim, as my low point. I'll jump ahead. And it wasn't, I just want to add one more layer to it. The man was so sweet. Like the man was just like moments before he's like looking out over on his roof going like, I'm just so thankful to be alive and living in this place with my sons whom I love and life is good. And you're just like, it's just this beautiful grandfatherly, like, oh man, what a great guy. And then it's like, no.
Then they crunched him.
It really hurt me. It hurt me. Anything from you? I don't, Jeff, you don't have to partake in any of these. You can skip whatever you want. Anything shocking to you about the experience or the finished product? Anything that was shocking to you in the whole process?
Shocking?
Yeah, anything surprising?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Pass.
Yeah. I'm springing that on you. No worries at all.
I'll think about it.
Okay, Tim.
But you got to answer the other ones, because otherwise, what are we paying you for? You know.
I mean, you get what you pay.
For. We didn't work that into the contract.
Let's go.
He's gonna leave.
I have to input that. So because we have our 4-year-old has been asking for cats for 3 years, we finally caved. I have 2 small kittens running around that are making some noise.
Yes.
And if at any point I scream in pain, it's because they're climbing up my legs. They're very cute.
Or if
they're very
at any
cats,
point Jeff just melts and is like, oh, then we know it's because of the cat.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Come here. Here's one of them. They're very cute.
Oh, come on. As if Jeff wasn't likable already. It's a little kitty.
Anyway, they're sweet, but they're be loud.
They are the devil, though. So look out.
Watch out. It's a black one, too.
That freeze frame with the cat is going to be the social post that says, go see the Carpenter.
That'll be the thumbnail.
He really is a good guy.
Okay, let's go
Black sheep and black kittens.
Character you wanted to see less of. So this is in the context of the story. The character that you could have done with a little bit less of. Tim, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
This is so awkward to sit here while you guys do this.
This is not going to be fun. We can go quickly through this one.
It doesn't have to be like a bad character. Sometimes it's just like for us it's sometimes like, hey, we needed to see a little bit less of them. We've done it where like there was a guy that was really funny, but you need to drop down a little bit less. Less is more in this instance. For me, I'm not trying to be mean here, but probably the answer is Oren. And here's what I have to say.
He's the main character.
He's the main character. I know.
Story.
And this is not the first time I've done this, where I've singled out the main character and said, hey, maybe a little less of him. Like, so as you said, Cameron's a former linebacker. He played running back at UC Berkeley. So it helps explain why the dude is so jacked. And he did a really, really good job with like these rage moments where he's like 300 style coming in at the camera. Yeah, he did fantastic with those. Throwing the hammer after his dad died, and you get this like this very, very emotional scene from him. Those were great. The subtle, tender monologues, Maybe not so much. And then like when
There are some tender moments that he nails, though.
there
Like,
are
there are some tender moments that he
few.
nails.
This is so
And then
Jesus.
I kept wondering this whole time, is he gonna play that guitar? Is he ever gonna actually get in here and play the thing? I was waiting for that. I wanted like emo kid in his room playing guitar more.
He does play the guitar in his room.
He does eventually, but
jamming
it's
on
like
his
there's a
bed.
whole lot of
Right.
shots where he's just like picking around and then he doesn't play. And you're like,
So
what
you
a
wanted
tease.
less of him, but a whole song of him playing.
Yeah, I
guitar.
wanted less of
Correct.
like tender him. I wanted more of rip that guitar, man. I want to see what
Yes.
you got.
Gotcha.
And in a similar vein, I'm not even gonna pose this one to you, Jeff. You don't have to address this one. But in a similar vein, the guitar was I would have listed that as my character I wanted to see less of, and similarly, I wanted to hear the song. I felt like we were building to a song, especially in the wedding scene. I'm like, here he is. You talked about the song he was gonna write to like propose, and I'm like, I wanted the song to hit. And then I think what I'm referencing here with my less of is the disappointment that I never got the Jesus inspired engagement song that I think. And then maybe, the Orphan Viking album that would eventually come out after he had more time to kind of flesh out the melodies.
Yeah, that tracks.
That was my character I wanted to see. I the whole time I wanted that guitar.
He could carve the vinyl into the wood and create his Orphan Viking album.
Now we're talking. If he can make a Last Supper table, he can make a vinyl wooden Viking
seriously.
minstrel album.
Jesus would have known how to do that. He could have taught him, obviously.
Obviously. Okay, this is a more fun question, and I am going to expect you to jump in with this one, Jeff. What is a character you want to see more of? This is a character came on screen. A lot of times in our dialogue, this might be somebody who wasn't on very long at all, but just kind of commanded the screen, made us interested, made us want a spin-off movie. Tim, we'll start with you. Character you want to see more of?
I was going to put Jeff on the spot first, but fine.
I'll go first.
Fine.
I'll go first.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
The character we need to see more of 100% would be Mary, Jesus's mom. The actress who played her was just like the greatest person in the world. So there's a helicopter shaking my house right now. I live in Los Angeles, so but I also think like, how was Mary like? I would have loved to see Mary like saying goodbye to her son, when he's going off to start his ministry. I would just would have loved to see. I just thought she did a great job, and I would have loved to see more of her.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
Yeah,
I like that.
I
thought you were going to say your wife, but
no, forget that.
I get to see her enough.
We definitely could have seen more of Mira. She's amazing. I also will say there's a guy, an older gentleman with longish hair. We give him a loaf of bread. We fix his roof, and then in one of the fights, he does this reaction where he's like, "Oh!" That guy cracked me up, and I could watch a whole spinoff about that man. Whether or not it's him as an actor or him as his character, I would watch it.
I love
it. Yeah,
that's awesome. Tim, who'd you have?
All right. Obviously, I want to see more of Jesus, but that both feels like a Sunday school answer. It feels like pandering to our guest. But I promise you, in my notes, I'm not just saying this to make you feel good, Jeff. In my notes, I wrote while I was watching, I wrote, Jesus is ripped, and he reminds me of Danny Rojas and Ted Lasso. Like the very, very lovable, likable guy,
positive.
very smiley, friendly. Like you just feel welcome. You want to be his friend.
I love Danny Rojas so much. That just made me feel so good.
He's so good. So that again, I'm not going to answer that because that's my Sunday school answer. I'm going with Amos. I liked him a lot. So for those of you who haven't watched, he's the Oracle. He's Yoda. He's Rocky's corner man, Mickey. Like he is the doctor who's brought in to be strategic. Yeah. And so like the thought was, if he could put someone back together, he should know how to break someone down too. And so he does that. But he's just got really funny moments and really funny one-liners. And then like at one point in their strategic talks, he tells Oren to kick him in the family jewels. Like that was a line in Bible times. Kick him in the jewels, man. And I liked him a lot.
Yeah, Andre's fantastic. He's great.
He was great. My listed character for this one, I did have it's gonna sound like I'm cherry picking. I had Mary written down, I had Amos written down, and I was really tossed up between the next two. I thought the actress that played Mira's daughter was very good.
Yes.
I thought she was very funny and she had good timing. She had good presence. I was like, this is cool. When she very abruptly was like, I've never seen hair that colored before. And everybody was like, shh, just call him a Viking. It's fine. We don't say that about.
We don't say ginger hair.
We don't talk about. I always tell my kids we don't talk about people's bodies because they're like, at the grocery store and everything like that person. We don't talk about people's bodies.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I really liked her, and then my other character that I wanted to see more of was ancient Nazareth weight training processes. I love.
You took mine.
Massive rocks being strung up by ropes to do like chest presses and leg and squats and stuff like that. Very legitimately, I was just obsessed with it. It was very like cut from like the Flintstones a little bit, where you have like a modern thing and you made it work back then. And I was like, I love this. I would have done a whole I would buy a workout tape if that came from this movie. Like pick up a big rock and do these movements. I'd be in.
Set in Bible times, and we'll call it CrossFit. Get it? Because it's the cross. Never mind. I put that as my low point.
Before. There's got to be a Christian based box that's like all about like it just has the symbol of the CrossFit. There's got to be like 12 of those in Tennessee alone. Like, come on, this could not be the first time.
Oh my gosh.
I have seen, since this came out, I have seen a lot of like memes that involve like MMA and Christianity, and the one of like that's like Jesus didn't tap out.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the CrossFit one has to exist.
That is a real thing.
Yeah.
That's funny. I had that as my low point. Yeah, I know we're jumping ahead here, but I had the rock dumbbells as like, man, I'm on board with this like fighting thing. And as they train for the Jerusalem Invitational, which I'm sure is what they would have called it.
Love that.
The jump rope they had, the dumbbells, like all of the stuff. I was like, man, you had me there for a second, and now I can't unsee that.
No, you gotta have a training montage in this type of movie.
You do, and like you said, the Flintstones. I was waiting for like one of those little parrots to come and like log his hours or something, or like I don't know.
I do think like so that was something that was going to be in the movie, and what Garrett, the director, was trying to do with it, I think, is like, like. If you talk to Garrett about it, he wasn't earnest and like self-serious about that at all. And I think, the like rock coming into it, I don't know. I would say Garrett a little bit was thinking Knight's Tale, like, cause he had to integrate that moment into the movie. And he's like, okay, sure. Like, let's just like go for it. This is obviously anyway. So
I'm here for
something like they're trying to have fun with.
This is my thing, man. You don't have to, because when I show up to a movie, to a Christian movie that's this type, we needed that sequence. And how are we going to execute it? We're gonna do big old rocks pulled by ropes. Tim and I were opposite on that one. I already did my low point, by the way. I did the sweet orange sweet adopted father being falling and then being crushed.
Crunched.
I felt like I watched him die 3 times. Maybe that was another thing that was, so it's like, oh, he fell and died. Oh, the other thing hit him. And then we watched him die in the house.
I'm not dead yet.
Not dead yet.
You'll be dead pretty soon. Okay.
I'm wondering, Jeff, where was there any low points for you in shooting? Because it looked warm wherever you shot this. I'm wondering if you're walking around in costuming. Was there any low points in shooting for you?
Well, so we shot in South Africa, in Cape Town, in August of 2022, and it was, so being in the Southern Hemisphere, it was winter, so the days would warm up, but it would get cold at night. I'd say the low point. So my wife's playing Mira. We have 3 kids, and we're like, okay, if you want us to do this movie, which we would love to do it, like we can't leave our kids for a month. So they very generously flew our whole family to South Africa. It was an 11-hour flight from LAX. We almost missed our flight at LAX. 11-hour flight from LAX to Amsterdam. An hour and a half layover, and an 11-hour flight from Amsterdam to Cape Town.
Oh.
And our 2 older kids, they were 7 and 5. They were like golden. They're like, I get to watch as many movies. I get to have as many snacks, as many drinks as I want. I'm golden. Our 2-year-old, she turned 2 our first day on set in South Africa, and the crew sang happy birthday to her in Xhosa. It was amazing.
Oh.
But she did so great until like the last hour of both flights. She was could not be contained. Just was like, like she wanted to be held. She wanted to get down. She could not, we were all feeling that way, but she couldn't
right.
She couldn't keep that inside. So she was just like flailing and when is this going to stop? But we also 2 of the kids' passports were late. And so we had to keep delaying our flight. So we arrived in Cape Town at got back to our Airbnb where they were putting us up at 2 a.m. And then we were on set the next morning. And the first thing we shot was that it's really short, but there's a really beautiful moment where they're on the seashore and Jesus and Oren are walking on the beach. And then they go and help these fishermen with this boat. So there's not even lines, but it's really beautiful. But first day on set, I wasn't there to set my look, what I was going to look like for the movie. Mm-hmm. So I sit down on the chair. We're just trying to hurry real quick. I have a lot of gray in my hair, so they had to blacken my hair, and then they're flat ironing my hair and parting it down the middle. And I was like, guys, no, it looked like a bob, And Aurora also had shorter hair at the time. We thought they were gonna add extensions or wig. No, it's just a bob. But mine was this coiffed helmet, and I have really thick hair, so it was and I was like, guys, no, this cannot be Jesus. He can't look like he just got his a blowout and then came to the therapy shop. This is not gonna work. So that was a bit of a low point, but it was very windy on the beach. And I talked to the director, and by the time I was out on the beach, it was my hair was blowing around anyway. So I was like, we'll be fine. This is not going to be the look. We'll be fine. So
yeah. That's so funny.
That's great. Yeah, because that's a commitment to the rest of the shoot to look like that.
Yeah, you have to match the look. Yeah,
that story resonates so much on so many levels. But what's funny to me is to just think about you flying in, preparing to be Jesus the next day, this eternal source of peace and patience, and you're wrangling a 2-year-old.
Right? Yeah. I'm keep it together.
I distinctly remember a long flight with one of mine when they were that age, and we booked it at night. It was a East Coast to West Coast flight, so we were up there for a while, and we were he'll sleep, and he didn't sleep at all. And I was just walking up and down this plane and screaming, and I was just this is the people say this is the worst. This is the worst. I'm 10,000 feet in the air with a kid screaming in my face who doesn't.
And then Jeff had to do that.
Everyone hates
again.
You.
Everybody hates you, and then I can't imagine doing all that and then wrapping my head around being Jesus the next day.
Yeah.
Well, and doing that again, 11 hours,
right?
Crying for an hour. Yeah. And let me just get back on one more 11-hour flight, and then we'll see how much
it was so worth it.
Jesus. Bless you.
So, we got to be there for a month, our kids had the time of their lives. Like I came home from set one time. Aurora and I weren't in a lot of scenes together. She played Mira. We weren't in a lot of scenes together. So uh, sometimes I'd be the kids, sometimes she'd be the kids. And then we also had someone who watched the kids, like this wonderful South African woman who watched the kids for us. But one time I came home from set and I was like, what did you guys do today? And they're like, oh, we sat on an ostrich and got to hold an ostrich egg and we ate, and then we got to eat ostrich and it tastes really good. Like they didn't have, they were like, it was fine for them that they like were playing with these ostriches, loved it. And then they ate the same animal that they were playing with. They're like, it was really good. Like it was amazing. The guys pet a cheetah. They got to play with monkeys. Like we got to go on safari at the very end. It was the best. We had
Awesome.
Are they under the impression that with these new cats that you got, that has to happen too?
Eventually we're gonna eat them.
You eat all the animals that you pet and play with.
These are cool. When do we eat them?
At what
It's gonna be
point?
delicious.
As soon as they get annoying, watch out.
Yeah. I love that unfolding the day. We were petting them, we held an egg, and then we ate them. You're like, wow,
We ate it.
what? Where? What? That took a turn. All right, 2 more questions on the movie here. Tim, give us some high points in the movie. 1 or 2 high points you identified from the Carpenter.
Yeah. One of my high points was like a feeling that I got several times over and over, and I kind of alluded to it before, that Jesus felt like he kind of was keeping a little bit of a secret.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not, because it was just set in like 29 AD, so it's not like, it's like pre-Jesus Yeshua, you know. And so I felt like there were moments where he was like on the brink of kind of spilling the beans about who he was, and it reminded me of like Arrested Development, where with the uncle not able to like say who he was, that he was Buster's dad. And so like when Oren was like, yeah, you know, my father sent me here, and I felt like Jesus was about to say like, mine did too.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you thought of Arrested Development.
Right. So this like
they're the same movie.
You know.
That series and this movie, like there's so much in common.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's
What about
good.
you,
I liked that take, and I liked that character choice, by the way. If I may,
That's scripted. That's scripted. I can't take credit for that.
Well, it was just a good, because you think about these stories and you think like there are moments where the character of Jesus in the Bible is very forthright with who he is and things like that. And then there's other times where it's a little bit more veiled. I liked it. My high point was when Oren was in a fight and camera smash zoomed into his face and the song "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor" came on. Again, I go into a movie, I know what I want. It's a sports movie. I would like the moment where the main character in the sport is maybe going to lose. And that was a 10 out of 10 execution, like the slow build of like, let the bodies hit the floor. And I was like, is that? And then sure enough,
that can't be.
It's scream, let the bodies hit the floor. And I watched my favorite orphan Viking take out his opponent. That was my high point. I loved it.
So I have to say, like, so Cameron, who plays Oren, and his brother plays Colin, and his dad was a writer and executive producer. Like, this is their movie. Like, this is their baby. They've been working on it for 10 years. They've been through a lot of stuff in those 10 years that shapes the whole process. And Cam's a fan of heavy metal music. And he was like, I can't, like, there was a version that didn't have the actual rock music in it that is in there now, like the actual licensed stuff, because they were trying to save money.
Yeah.
And then Cam really pushed for it, and they dished out some money. I don't know how much, but to get those rights to use those specific songs, and it's there you go.
Chef's kiss. That was perfection to me. Did you have any other ones we need to talk about, Tim? Or
no. I want to hear if Jeff had a high point in shooting or his favorite scene that he has viewed multiple times since then.
Okay, I'll share one that's blasphemous and one that's not blasphemous.
That's like me and him.
So, um, I won't say any names, but one of my favorite people on the wardrobe team, he was a little jumpy, and I accidentally scared him one time, and he like turned and went, Jesus, oh Jesus. And so from then on, I just love scaring people. So I was like always trying to scare him, and it was very funny to me.
Come on.
Uh, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna add one more before I talk about the non-blasphemous one. I love the moment when my wife, who's playing Mira, when they're like talking about Yeshua, and he's like, "Wow, this guy must be really generous," and she goes, "You have no idea." And I just think like there's a lot that we could pack into that backstory considering our relationship. But yeah, I love watching Aurora on
That's
camera.
great.
But I will say, so this movie is very much a reflection of like how the Krebs family feels about Jesus and how they'd never seen a movie where you see Jesus as a friend and like kind of that one-on-one relationship. And so they really want to portray that. That's very much their experience, like with Jesus Christ and their faith, that like he's just there for you and always knows the right thing to say and always knows he's always there, right? And so like, you know, you're dressing up as Jesus, you're walking around, and sometimes like when the camera's rolling, you're pretending to be Jesus. And like I couldn't think about it very much, but there are moments like when people in the scene look at you and they're pretending you're Jesus too, but what all of their like real feelings are coming out about Jesus. And there's that moment at the very end. Cam's been through some hell, and it's his faith in Jesus Christ that's like really helped him. And that moment was like so beautiful to watch because he's like looking right at me. It's all of his love and faith and hope in Jesus Christ is like being reflected at me. And it was just a really beautiful moment. So those are my highlights.
I love it.
That's awesome.
All great
I also thought maybe Ben,
highlights.
you would have picked another scene with your wife. As there was a kind of a softball for you to score some good points with your wife, but that's fine. It's fine. You don't have to.
I did.
You don't have
No,
to.
I did. I said the moment with my wife. I like. I mean, I'm very biased. I can watch Aurora all day long, but that's what's great.
That's
And we
awesome.
the film we shot this summer was a romantic comedy. And she plays the lead. We wrote it together, directed it together. She plays the lead, and I was like, I can't be in this movie we can't both be in it and direct it. Like, so wasn't in it at all. But I'm like directing her in scenes with this guy when they like kiss and stuff, and like it's not like weird to me at all. Like because we're both actors and like we just do this as part of the gig. But like I could just sit and watch her all day. So
She was great.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan. What can I say?
She was great. All great high points. Okay, Tim, this is the grand finale. Listeners will know that we have a very sophisticated scale here in Christian Movies Are Funny, where the raised hands emoji. This is our system out of 5. 0
I
to
don't want
5.
to be here for this.
We rate these movies. This is part of the discussion after the consumption.
Because it's not, and to clarify, it's not like, was this good? It's not always like, was it good or bad? And a lot of it is like, should you just go watch it?
Oh no.
Some of it is, should you go watch it because it's terrible? Yeah.
Jeff, he's setting you up. He's setting you up, Jeff. What are you going to do here, Tim?
Just rise up. No, so I to Jeff's point, I think the thing, like you and I were both sold. We were given this. We get a lot of recommendations for the films that we watch, and so we were sent. It was sent to us, and you know, at first glance, I thought this was this very over the top. I mean, we watched the dinosaur one. And which one was that? Velocipaster. Okay, so there's nothing like good, like quality or anything about that one. It's funny as all get out, and you have to go see it.
Why is Velocipaster catching a stray right now for no good reason?
Sorry, it's not. It meant that in a good way. And so when we were sold this like, the movie poster of Jesus trains an MMA fighter. That's what I got. I was like, oh, okay, this is absurd. We're gonna get this absolutely absurd off the wall story. And then you get into it and it has very little to do. And you kind of live in this macho age where some guys are trying to I don't know, maybe convince you that Jesus would have been an MMA fighter and he would have been awesome, or like condoning sort of that. Like, how do you put all that together? And it didn't. What happened was totally different. Like, I didn't feel that. And they're talking about, Jesus even talks about, as you know, Jeff, that like. This is sport. He talks about this as sport, and this is the thing that he's passionate about and he's into. And it's like Jesus sort of meets him there and is like, yeah, it's cool. Like, and it's not about condoning violence or like beating up people. Like, this is a sport to this character. And so I liked that. I was I was weary about that. I was a little leery about that, kind of going, what's this going to look like? Okay. And it wasn't that. I was given something better than I thought it was going to be. So I have to say, like, it was fun. It was entertaining, and I got to go like 4.5, 5 for this. Like, go see it. Wow. If you're not sure, if you're concerned about going to see it, go see it. Catch it while it's in theater. Go right now if it's still out there. So I don't give these out lightly, Jeff.
That is a big deal.
I'm very shocked, pleasantly shocked and surprised.
It is entertaining.
You should be.
Not shocked. I'm not shocked.
If you think
of course, I think the movie's great.
No, Jeff.
I'm pleasantly surprised.
Tim is so tough with these that I am shocked because
it helps that I'm here too, right? The rating might be slightly different if I wasn't here. That means that I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad you.
Well said, Tim.
And what do you got?
I mean, no, the listeners know.
Opposite end of the spectrum.
I am 5 out of 5 on this. I was 5 out of 5. Halfway through this movie, I looked at Tim and I said, I am obsessed with this movie. Like, this is everything I want. It is. Honestly, like, we were joking. You said it was the actor who played Warren's first movie. I found it very endearing. I talk about that a lot on this podcast. Like, if you set out to make your thing and you're in it and you're like trying to be somebody you're not and you come across real like weird, that's one thing. I thought he came across as like the character I wanted him to be in this movie. The fight scenes are great. The portrayal of Christ and even the concept of Christianity, that's always one of my scales, like how yucky it does it. Sometimes there's a very obvious agenda and they're trying to kind of make you think a certain way about this. You don't get that from this movie. Your backstory only kind of fills in what I already suspected, that this was coming from a very genuine place, a creative kind of like, we have a whole other segment where we go through the Bible, and most of our written stuff about Jesus, it's a 3-year thing. So there is so much creativity to kind of play around and think of him as a friend, as a worker. I loved it. I like halfway through this movie, I was like, yes, if you are trying to take your kids to something that's like going to be fun, everyone's going to like, if you're involved in some sort of church youth group situation, like it's so much better than any movies I got, I should say, when I was that age. Like, I was given a lot of not low bar. And I'm watching this one like, this hits. Like, I just have you feel great at the end. Everybody, I don't know. I was a 5 out of 5 early on in the watch.
It also helped with your pumped upness for the movie that we were in a theater and you were dressed as Jesus. And as we walked in the theater, it was like a Tuesday night, and there's 100 like young people that don't look like us, just looking at Anthony like, what the heck is wrong with this old man?
Yeah.
But it was great. That was a fun part of the experience for me.
Well, me and Jeff know what it's like to walk around and be, people to kind of treat you differently because
Jim has played Jesus too, though. He said, we all three of us can go to the convention.
We're the Mount Rushmore of actors who played Jesus.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, Jim.
I can't co-sign this movie hard enough. I enjoyed it so much. So it's way high on my list for ones that we've reviewed. And Jeff, thank you so much for being here, dude.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's so good to meet you guys. Thanks for reaching out and having me on.
Hey, what are you?
My only regret is that I don't have what is Lions Not Sheep? Is that the brand? I just wish I could have like answered the Zoom and been like the Lions.
Oh my gosh.
Lions Not Sheep.
So
Sure.
that's how they answer the Zoom when they rock those
That would have
shirts.
been amazing.
Jeff, you could have had a shepherd's not sheep shirt on with the Jesus reference. That could have been good.
See, you just spun that. Good job.
Next time you're on.
Before we go, Jeff, you've mentioned some things you're working on. Can we tell our listeners about anything in particular? What's your next thing coming out?
Yeah, I mean, if that's okay to do some plugs. So,
Yeah, man.
There's stuff I've done as an actor. I've got a film coming out called Princess for a Day, and very much a
Already in
comedy dramedy. It's very sweet. I play like a widowed billionaire, very on character for me. And then, but the film that we shot this past summer, it's called Too Soon. It's the story of a widow and a widower who meet the day of their spouse's funerals. And like romance is the furthest thing from their mind. They just connect because of shared experience, but then they get together to process their feelings months later through like kind of like an ad hoc music therapy style support group. They start writing music together. And eventually they're filling the gaps in each other's lives. And eventually there's feelings that start to come up, and there's a kitten in my lap now. And that like, it asks the question, like in dating after death, like when is it too soon? Is it ever not going to be too soon?
Yeah.
And we call it a dark romantic comedy because it deals with grief, and there's some darker humor in it, but it's also just a very, here's the other cat. No, we got both of them. We really dug into because we lost friends to cancer young, and it sucks. And then we brought a lot of people on to consult on the script who'd lost spouses and such. And it's a project we really care about. It's got a lot of original music in it because they're writing music together, So we're really excited about it. We're still in the post-production phase. Hopefully that will be something people can watch next year. Keep an eye out for it. It's called Too Soon.
I was going to say, what's our, we don't have a timeline yet for consumption.
Well, no, because we're going to have it done. The film will be done like February. And that's when we'll start, showing it to sales reps and talking to festivals and stuff, like to see, it's so hard. It's a very micro budget film, but we had an amazing cast and crew and team that came together to make it. And I'm very excited about it. I don't want to jinx anything, but like, we don't know. It could go nowhere. We could end up putting it on YouTube and just be like, just watch it. Please just watch it. Or, maybe we sell it to a streamer, or maybe, you just never know. It's such a crapshoot with them. So we're excited about it. So who knows?
Props to you for doing it. You were doing the thing that we always praise people doing. Like, you're out there, you're making creative things happen. You're doing a fine job of it, from what I can tell, and from what we've experienced. And you're a nice guy. You're a good person to have on. And the cats, I love
only
you.
the cats that makes you think that right now.
You're a good person. Cats don't like bad people.
I mean,
I think cats.
Come on. Good Lord.
It's too much.
This is chicken and this is nugget.
I think you hold up those two cats and all of a sudden you're like Mr. February on someone's calendar.
This is what I'm saying. Right. He's out here acting like it's going to be hard to sell a movie.
Right.
Like, did you see?
Have you seen my face? Have you seen these cats?
Seen my face and my cats. Listen, Jeff, Too Soon sounds awesome. Princess for a Day. I'm not sleeping on either. You've got friends here at The Bible is Funny now. Let us know when it comes out.
I'm so glad you guys found me so I could find you. I'm stoked to be part of this this fold.
You're in. Great. You're the leader, I think, unfortunately. The leader of the fold.
Nope. I'm definitely a sheep, not lion kind of person. So Tell me where to go. I'll be there.
All right. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
We did it. We had a guest on the podcast.
What?
Can you even believe that?
What a guy.
The best.
This gives me hope if we ever this was our first foray into having a guest, and I would do if every guest is like Jeff, which is impossible.
No way
To be that nice. Yeah. Let's keep doing it. He was so fun.
Oh my goodness. I can't. I'm out of words for how much I like Jeff.
I love that he's this like super chill, humble dude, like in real life too.
Right.
He's like, yeah, no, I'm not that big of a guy. I'm only 6'2". I'm just a runt.
Also, just like he's just a handsome
hair
fella.
for days.
Beautiful head of hair. I think I would be intolerable if I had a head of hair like that.
You would be intolerable.
I would. Nobody would hear the end of it.
It's as if you're not intolerable now.
I would be. All day.
Oh, do I look this handsome? Oh, my bad.
Is that my hair on this
Did
head
my
of mine?
handsomeness get in your face?
Not Jeff. He was awesome.
No.
So this was incredible. And again, like I said at the beginning, it's all because of you, the listeners, the fans.
Yeah.
They told us about this. We made it happen. We saw it in theaters. We got to interview Jeff.
Go see The Carpenter.
Go see The Carpenter.
Jeff, and then tell him how good of a job he did.
Go see
not.
The Carpenter.
We're not going to tell you what to tell Jeff, but geez.
Sure. Well, and good luck talking. It took me 10 minutes to kind of like
catch your breath.
You
were
not starstruck.
Yeah.
The Carpenter, check it out if it's still in theaters near you. We did go a couple towns over, but it wasn't too far. And yeah, shouts out to Jeff. Shouts out to you. Shouts out to us. What a great day to be alive. We love you very much. If you're not already, follow along at The Bible is Funny. That's where you sent stuff about the movie. Keep sending stuff. We'll keep watching it.
I got a text message about it. That was from a close friend. No, I'm not giving out my phone number. Sorry.
Except for to one lucky viewer. Just kidding. He would never. I drag you participate in a lot that you don't want to, but I don't think I would make you. Did you ever do the prank where you do a Craigslist ad under someone's phone number? Weren't you telling me about that?
Yeah. I think I was. No, we did that to Brandon.
It's such a good. It's an awful.
I would sign a good friend of mine up for like every bit of like, oh, you want to register to get a free T-shirt? Yeah, I'm gonna register. And my name's Brandon. Sorry, Brandon.
Shouts out to Brandon. Hey, love you guys. Be back with another episode here very soon.
Later.
The Bible is for